First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who took the time today to join us. This has been a year in the making. This has been an exciting project to be part of the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police and to have the women's leadership section be such a have such interest in it. So thank you everybody for taking your time this morning just to sit down and hear some things about what we've been doing, what we're going to be doing. And we really want to see everybody on here and then some be part of this as we move forward. So I'll get kind of started. I want to be very respectful and mindful of everybody's time today. We're going to try to keep this strictly to an hour meeting with the full intention of us having future events that we can reconnect at a later point in time. So I just like to get started by introducing everybody that has been part of this committee for the past year. Before I do that, though, I just kind of want to run you guys through what this meeting is going to look like today. We're just going to go through the chair people here, and we're going to introduce ourselves and tell you a little bit about us and our backgrounds. And then we're going to kind of go through the prompts that if you signed up for this meeting, probably got an email from AJ regarding some questions maybe to think about as we met this morning to think about your leadership journey. And then we'll kind of close up and we'll talk about some of the things that are on the horizon for the 2026 year moving into 2027. We also want to make sure that we are continuing with our outreach efforts and making sure that we are gauging the interest of everybody on this meeting to help really raise and elevate this section and make sure that we are elevating and raising our fellow sisters in the profession as well. This, as a reminder to everybody, is open to both sworn and civilian staff. So please, this is not meant to be towards any one specific group. We know and understand, and this was part of our discussion when this section started, was that there are a lot of women that are in leadership positions and high-ranking leadership positions within police organizations that are not sworn. So it is important for us to reach out and to support one another in those efforts as well. I'll get started and just kind of let you guys know my role here today. I'm a co-chair of the Women's Leadership Section. My name is Heather Lancioni. I'm a commander with the Elgin Police Department. I am embarking upon my 23rd year in law enforcement, so I have been with Elgin the entire time. I currently oversee our patrol, our operations division. I've been part of our strategic initiatives, investigations. My career journey has been diverse, shall we say. I started in patrol. I spent almost 12 years as a detective. I was the assistant commander for the Kane County Major Crimes Task Force. So I have never quite abandoned my love for investigations. It's like the stage 5 cleaner that I just hold on to forever and ever and as long as I can. Even today, I just find myself dabbling and being nosy and seeing what's going on in investigations. I just can't quit it. Part of what I also do on the side, I am a crisis intervention team instructor for the state of Illinois. So if you've gone through the 40-hour CIT class, you may have seen me. I'm also teaching at the academies as well. So big advocate for CIT. And really what we're trying to do here, and I'm sure as a lot of other police organizations represented here in this meeting today will probably attest to, is that we have a lot of very young people in our organizations. We have seen a lot of turnover, and some of that has just been generational. Some people that were hired in the Clinton era are now starting to age out, and we are seeing mass influxes of people. And it is something that we're going to be dealing with for a long period of time. So with that comes these leadership gaps as well. I think now that we are becoming more represented in law enforcement, it is important for us to reach out and to get women involved very early on in their careers. I can tell you that part of my why as to why I feel this section is very important is because I have made about every mistake possible known to mankind. Well, like short of being arrested, I have made some very egregious mistakes on my end, both in the way that I treated people, the way that I felt that I was treated, and knowing the difference and how to negotiate those and maneuver through those situations in the workplace. Anybody who's been in this career for more than 15, 20 years will probably agree with me in saying that it is a very different environment now than it was when we were hired. So I will say that I come from a place of experience. I've had some pretty rotten things happen to me that I could have and did for a little while take the low road. And I was bitter and I was upset. I even considered for a period of time leaving law enforcement. And I wish I would have had the advocacy now that we have within our organization back then. So that is a very big part of my why as to why this section and the timing of it is so important for us right now, and to advocate for young women of all stages in their career to become part of this women's leadership section. So enough about me. I'm going to turn it over to my co-chair, Tara Anderson from Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, everybody. Happy to be here this morning. I'm Tara Anderson, as Heather said. I'm a deputy chief with Buffalo Grove Police Department in Northern Illinois. And I've been here for 25 years, 25 fast years. I'm currently serving on Lake County's IMAT team as a team leader. That was kind of like my first big thing outside of Buffalo Grove to get involved with. And since then, I was appointed to the Illinois Chiefs Board of Directors in 2025, and that's more or less when I got involved with this women's leadership section. And then most recently, I was appointed to IACP's Police Professional Standards, Ethics, and Image Committee. Say that 10 times fast. So that's a new role or new adventure for me. I'm really excited. My why for this section is 44-3. Really, going through the ranks, going through my career, I was often like the only female or one of a few females, which I didn't mind for the most part. I definitely like working with men. Sometimes it's easier. But when you go to conferences or training classes or things like that, and you're the only one, oftentimes the spotlight was on you for good reasons and for bad. And it would have been nice just to have some networking and some mentorship, I think, from other females that had either gone through similar struggles or were going through similar things. So I feel like that's something that we could give back, especially if you're further along in your careers. So for me, this section, we have a lot more females now working with Buffalo Grove, and I think in law enforcement and in general. But they don't necessarily stay with the career. They're more likely to burn out or just stop at the officer level because life gets in the way. And, especially I feel like for females, the work-life balance could be a big struggle. So I really want this section to be an opportunity for us to provide that support and that networking for people that are moving up the chain. Our first line officers, our sergeants, our lieutenants and commanders. So that way they are supported like through the difficult times and have a better opportunity to succeed. Because we have a lot of highly, highly qualified females that we're working alongside. So really that's been a journey for me the last couple years, and that's why I've gotten involved in these committees that are beyond Buffalo Grove. So I'm really trying to stretch myself, and I'm hoping that this section will help you all stretch yourselves in, whichever ways you're comfortable doing, but to really push yourselves in your career so you feel fulfilled with this part of your life. That's really what I have. I'm going to move on to Kim Cavelli.
Hi everyone. I'm Kim Cavelli. I'm Deputy Chief with Lincolnshire Police Department, which is in Lake County. I'm going into my 24th year. And prior to becoming a supervisor, I was in patrol, and then I also worked as the SRO at Stevenson High School. As far as my career path, I was promoted to sergeant, then commander, and DC in 2023. I also served during that time as a village trustee for the village of Cary, which gave me an interesting perspective of being on the other side And then I'm also a recent graduate of the FBI National Academy, which was an amazing experience, and I'm going to highly recommend putting that on everyone's radar. As far as my areas of interest, I've always been community focused, and that's where I spend a lot of my time, especially in my role now, aside from doing a lot of administrative duties, which aren't as exciting. And as far as the why for me, number one, so this is the brainchild of Chief Leonis. He's currently the president of ILACP. He wanted to be on this call today, but couldn't be here due to other obligations. But he, by far, has been my greatest mentor. He is just an amazing individual, very smart, and very much a proponent of lifting women up in law enforcement. So I just wanted to make sure, even though he's not here and he had no idea I was going to say that, I wanted to mention that because he's just the best. And as far as personal, though, I'm here just, again, as means to support other women. I work in a smaller agency, so I've had very few women alongside of me throughout my career. And kind of like Heather mentioned and Tara mentioned, I've made the mistakes. I would have loved to have somebody to just kind of bounce ideas off of and talk to. And the other thing is I'm very much an introvert. So I'm also trying to expand my networking efforts and get outside my comfort zone. So that's all for me.
Fantastic. Kim, you are not an introvert. Kim is so spectacular. She does not give herself enough credit. Okay, so next is Karen McCartney, Lieutenant from Schaumburg.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I usually work afternoon shift, busiest shift on patrol, police department where I work. I've been there now for 25 years and I've served in various roles: firearms instructor, emergency services coordinator, CIT. I've done pretty much everything in the patrol gamut. Our department, like most departments, you have a hard time trying to switch over to a different division because some people just don't want to get out of positions that they've been in for years. So I own it. I've adjusted and I love being in patrol. And again, I work the busiest shifts, so it's a lot of fun sometimes. My career path and notable accomplishments. I like to learn and lead and vary in new roles to enhance my overall abilities in policing. I graduated Northwestern School of Police Staff and Command. I highly recommend that as well if you get an opportunity to attend. I also graduated Columbia College of Missouri with my bachelor's degree. I completed my associates with the Community College of the Air Force. Also, before the police department, I worked 2 years in the Department of Justice. I also worked with immigration and, of course, with a CCAF degree. I'm a proud U.S. Air Force veteran, 12 years active duty military service in law enforcement and security forces. My areas of leadership, I build and I help provide a positive relationship with the police and the community. I'm committed to helping my team remove barriers to solutions. And being involved in, first off, I want to piggyback on what Kim said about Chief Leonis. In my career, I don't think I've really ever had male leaders pick out an opportunity to build up a female officer. I met Chief Leonis. He chatted with me about this women's leadership section that he was helping to create through ILACP, and he asked my input. That's usually very rare because, again, as women leaders, I know throughout my 25 years, he didn't have very many occasions to have male mentors to help build me up. So I took his advice and I became part of this group and I support it wholeheartedly. I really do believe that us women need to be more supportive of each other in our career field to provide that arena to build each other up. So I appreciate this opportunity and I'm working with some amazing women a lot as I process myself. So thank you all for being here today.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen. And then last but certainly not least, Christy Lindhurst.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks you for being here. Real quick, my history here at Schaumburg PD is I'm on my 25th year of service. I'm currently the Support Services Commander, which is a fancy title. So I do a lot of extra things that have to go on in the background, such as I'm in charge of our real-time information center, our training division, our quality of life and community engagement, and our social services. So all the things that make it happen out on the street, I kind of have my hand in. In addition to that, I also am the primary public information officer, so I have those duties also. I've been afforded a very non-traditional path, I think, throughout my career. I started in patrol like everyone. I was field training officer. I did public information as a sergeant. I went to investigations as a lieutenant. Then I came back to patrol as a commander, and then now in my current role as a commander in the support services, managing a lot of different things going on at the same time. I think throughout that non-traditional kind of path of going in a variety of different ways, it's brought me to understand the true meaning behind community partnerships, the true meaning behind officers supporting other officers, and through women, what we bring to the table different than men and our strengths when we work together. So I think my why, that's kind of my why, and the fact that I am approaching 25 years. So I'm looking at the horizon. I'm not going to be here forever in this role. So I want to make sure that others coming up after me have more opportunities than I did.
Very well said. Thank you, Christy. Yeah. So as everybody on this meeting can see, there is a lot of experience here on the committee. We certainly do not know it all, but if anybody had been privy to some of our online meetings, you would see that there's a little bit of a gap sometimes in technology and keeping things moving. So keeping this young and fresh and with new blood is very, very important, we think, to the longevity and success of this section. So tell your friends, tell your girlfriends, tell your aunties, tell everybody about it in law enforcement, because this is something that is going to be on the horizon. And just to echo what Kim said about Chief Leonis, it is probably pretty rare, even unfortunately still, to have the allyship of some of our male companions in this profession who really truly believe in what we have to offer. So when you have somebody who advocates very strongly for you, never, ever, ever look the other way. Make sure that you take that hand and give yourself a seat at the table. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Tara, who's going to walk us through some of the icebreaker questions that have been sent out to you when you initially registered. So Tara, take it away.
Wonderful. Could you all hear me and see my presentation screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so good morning. Thank you all again for joining us today. So we're excited to have you and to launch the Women's Leadership Development Series. So this is going to be a brief interactive program. It's approximately 15 minutes long, and it's created specifically for women in law enforcement, and it's really designed to meet you for where you're at in your careers. Many of us here are on different paths, and we want to recognize that leadership really isn't about your rank. It's about your influence, your mindset, and the impact that you have each and every day. So our first section here today is going to be Lead from Where You Stand. It centers around leadership identity and self-awareness. Figured it to be an appropriate topic given that it's the start of a new year. This is a perfect time to reflect, set some goals, and learn practical leadership skills that you can really apply right away. So this exercise is designed to be reflective, interactive, and practical. We encourage you to participate via Menti, so you do get to take your cell phones out and the group chat. I also recommend taking out a pad of paper and pens just to jot down some ideas. You're welcome to share your thoughts, and I hope you take something meaningful away today. Some of the questions here will help us as a section leaders learn how that we could better support you and women in law enforcement as a whole. So we'll start with a quick guided introspection exercise. Some of these questions did go out ahead of time, I believe through AJ's email. So if you don't have those, I do recommend taking a picture or a screenshot of the slide just so you can revisit it later and reflect more deeply on it when you have some time. For now, in the interest of time, please don't overthink your responses. Just jot down what comes to mind first and be honest for your own benefit. We're going to explore three prompts here you'll see highlighted by the arrows: an identity, reality check, and values alignment. So we're going to start with identity. When others look to you for leadership, whether it's coworkers, supervisors, or family, what do they rely on for you most? Is it staying calm under pressure? Are you fair, great at making decisions, or showing empathy? Think about your current leadership influence, even if you're not labeling it as such, and just jot down what comes to mind. Okay, next is the reality check. What is one leadership challenge that you're currently carrying, either professionally or personally? To name a few, this could involve confidence, balance, communication, maybe it's burnout or authority. We're not going to fix this today, we just want to acknowledge it. Oftentimes with leadership, simply recognizing where you're at is, probably the greatest benefit to you. For me personally, it does have a lot to do with balance in my life because I'm juggling home life, DC responsibilities, and three crazy kids with ridiculous sports schedules. So just take a moment to jot down something that is one of your main challenges. Okay, and finally is values alignment. Looking ahead 1 year from now, what kind of leader do you want to be known as? So words like respected, prepared, or authentic may come to mind, or maybe it's something different that truly matters to you. This question will help connect with who you are now with who you want to become. So where do you want to be 1 year from now? Now we get to take the phones out. Okay, so since you've had a quick moment to reflect, again, I highly encourage you to look back on that slide later where you could actually give it some really deep thought and maybe be more introspective. Just in the interest of time, we want to move forward. So we're going to start with a simple question. You could log in through your cell phone. I included a QR code. If you don't have that, then we also have the Menti code listed on there so you can participate. Just provide us with one quick icebreaker describing the leader you want to be, and we'll see what themes emerge from this group. The responses are still coming in, but here's where we're at the moment. Whoever's got that emoji, bonus points because I probably couldn't do that. Kim, do you want to
Yeah,
comment?
I think it's interesting. I'm clearly the most the response you're seeing the most is respected, which is interesting because I think as a female in law enforcement, sometimes you have to work a little harder, do a little extra. At least I feel that way, to gain that respect and show you know a little bit more.
Yeah, it's certainly something that's earned over time.
I don't know if it's in the
And
word cloud, Tara, but someone put in the chat, consistent. That's really a great trait to have people remember you by, as being consistent.
100%. And I think you earn respect through being consistent. Really, a lot of these, there's overlap here. We will be able to provide you with the Menti results too following our meeting. So you'll have something to chew on there if you care to look back. Okay, so now that we've briefly explored the leader you want to be, let's shift into action by setting a short-term goal. So on your sheet of paper, complete this statement. In the next 30 to 60 days, I will blank so that I could lead more effectively. Please choose something achievable, a SMART goal, that will make a difference in your leadership journey. It might relate to your personal development, confidence, balance, emotional intelligence. We did provide some examples here on the slide. Again, I recommend keeping it clear and focused because it helps turn your reflection into progress. We'll give you a moment. Okay, so now that you've identified your short-term goal, let's take it one step further. Through Menti, please share your response to this question. What is one small action you can commit to? So by breaking your goal into small, actionable steps, it really makes it easier to follow through and succeed. And I highly recommend writing these down because it provides clarity, accountability, and really a tangible reference to keep you on track.
I love the response. Speaking of being in a setting where I don't usually, I can totally relate to that one. And finding balance. That's my 2026 resolution.
We have a few more rolling in. Fortunately, there's no refresh. That's why I'm skipping forward and back to show you more. And I will send these out afterwards because I do think it's beneficial because there probably is a lot of overlap here. and it might spark something for you to see where other people are at. Would you like to share, Kim?
I'm just laughing at the organize my file system. So I'm able to better find things or at least appear capable. I love that. Guilty.
I was actually going to write the same thing.
That's great. Totally can relate. I think all these responses are really good and achievable. I think.
So this exercise that we're actually doing right now, I never set time aside for myself to actually reflect, and that is my goal for 2025 and 2026, which is why I feel like I've had so much more growth, or maybe it's just a lot more recognizable, because I was putting aside time once a week to actually jot my thoughts down on paper. I'm not a journal person, never was, but to actually jot my thoughts down on paper that were truly centered around myself and my wellness, and then revisit them on a weekly basis. So I also think that it helps build your confidence when you do see the small wins. And when you look back and you reflect on things on a weekly basis, you do see progress. It's kind of like stepping on a scale, like you lose a pound a week, and then before you know it, if you're on track, after a couple months, it's 10 pounds, 20 pounds. Similarly, like when you're able to go back, it's kind of like stepping on the scale, giving yourself the time to reflect and see where you're at with your goals, whether you're making progress or, you know, you can address the setbacks as well. So that's more or less why I looked at this topic for this kickoff meeting with the goal setting.
Tara, there was a comment in the chat. If you could just put the Menti code up one more time real quick.
Sure. See at the top here? I could even go back another slide if that helps for the QR code.
Hang on, I'm multi-screening it right there. It is.
If you're stuck on your screen, you could also hit the refresh button and it should move you forward. Okay. All right. Oops. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next slide. Now that we focused a bit on your personal leadership, I want to zoom out and think about the bigger picture. So through Menti, please share your response to this question. What is one small thing missing for women in law enforcement? Like what's one unmet need? Your feedback here is going to help us identify gaps, needs, and opportunities, where the women's leadership section can provide some support. You all are making me laugh about the uniforms. This is like a constant struggle.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to the uniforms. I feel like I'm still on the search after all these years.
Yeah, while everybody's still finishing up their comments here, I don't know how many times in our over the past year, just as a group, we have discussed how we missed the market on maybe starting our own clothing company and creating our own line of duty apparel because it is a huge struggle.
And athletic wear.
We're seeing a lot here with advocates and mentorship. Know that that is something that is definitely on our minds, and there is going to be opportunities for both mentors and mentees. So please keep that in mind. It's something that we're working on. If you're interested, I'm going to see if there are any other responses. Any of you want to provide your missing item? Karen, Kim, Christy?
I'm still looking through these.
To speak to I know there's been a couple comments in here, both in the chat and kind of along the lines of the uniform options. We have talked about the career pathways that women have taken or not taken because they haven't felt supported in their departments, and specifically as it pertains to family planning and support in that arena. We've also talked about how there is one agency, I think it's in San Diego, that actually created their own full-time daycare facility. So there is an appetite for better support systems within law enforcement, specifically for women and families in particular. I think that's something that we've talked about and are looking at. I've done some research into it myself. But even on a smaller scale within our own organizations, there is the ability to do some things. Our chief, we have a female chief, Chief Lally. We had actually some union members. So when we talk about the experience, it doesn't always come from us mature women. Okay, I'm not going to say the word old because we're not old. I'm going to say mature women, but sometimes the ideas don't always come from us. They come from the younger officers. And this idea actually came from one of our young officers who asked about starting a family comp time bank. So women who are planning on having kids at some point in time, they wanted to start a comp time bank separate from any actual comp time that they would earn. That would only be able to be used for purposes of, family planning, anything related to FMLA, basically. So the chief said, go ahead and do it. It sounds like a great idea. And that has been something that many people, so it's open to both men and women, obviously, for family planning purposes. So there are some things on a smaller scale that you can do internally in your department. Just requires a little bit of conversation with your own administrations, which we're very happy to facilitate for you.
Thank you for providing that. And honestly, Heather, that's one of the great things about this section because I feel like we're going to have an opportunity to share these ideas. So please keep that in mind, all. It's going to be one of the great benefits of this section. My last question for you all, it really ties into the last screen, and that's how can the women's leadership section specifically support that need that you just addressed? Again, this is going to create some actionable ways and help guide the women's leadership section in our planning over the next year or two. Tell you one thing that came to mind beyond mentorship and building confidence. We've been talking about possibly doing mock assessment centers, like at one of our in-person meetings. We hope to have something like that put together for fall. So we do have some big picture ideas, and we'll certainly have opportunities for you to either participate or help facilitate these sessions. Someone mentioned an email chain or contact list.
Yeah.
We do have a chat link on the ILACP website. There is a forum, so please be aware you can join that forum and post questions on there. Sorry. And all right, we have 10 responses. Feel free to respond after. Again, we will post this and make this available for after the fact, but in the interest of time, I'm going to move forward here. So before we wrap up and move on to our regular business, I just want to reiterate, that where you're at in your career, remember leadership isn't about your title. It's really about your presence, your influence, and your integrity. So by participating in this women's leadership session, truly you're investing in your own leadership journey, and you're also helping to advance and support women across Illinois law enforcement. So we really encourage you to stay engaged through our bi-monthly virtual meetings. Given that that's going to land on spring break, we're probably going to push our next meeting into early April. And please visit the website, explore the resources available on our section page. I do have some really exciting news. As of yesterday, and as part of our Women's Leadership Section membership drive, participants are welcome to join just this section free of charge for the remainder of 2026. So if you're curious about the section, but really not ready to commit to a full ILACP membership, this is going to be a great way to get involved and experience what the WLS has to offer at no cost for this year. So you will be limited to like these meetings and our WLS page and the forum, but at least you'll have a chance to get your feet wet to see if this is something for you. If you have questions or want to get involved, please reach out to the contacts listed on this page, or to any of our board members. We will put our information up in the chat later, and our information is also listed on the webpage. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Heather, and we'll get on to the rest of our regular business.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tara. That was fantastic. It's good to walk through some of those exercises and really take a personal inventory on where you're at with your leadership. Just as a side note, I had the opportunity this summer to attend SMIP, the Senior Management Institute for Policing in Boston. And if any of you have ever seen or heard from former Philadelphia Commissioner Chuck Ramsey, he actually came and spoke at our class. And wow, what a story and what a career that man has had. He has so much insight and wisdom. I mean, this guy came up through, segregation and was a Chicago police officer when they decided to integrate, white and black officers and see what happened, as he said. So talk about a guy who has had a leadership challenge his entire career. But one thing that he always says that he's pretty famous for is saying, lead from where you are, not where you anticipate to be. So no matter where you are, if you're an officer, if your rank, so to speak, is just officer, it's never just, or your records clerk, or your, administration support, it is not about title. It's about, being who you are and leading where you are right now. That was one thing that stuck with me from that class. It was probably one of the most powerful speeches that I've ever heard, and he was super engaging. So as a matter of, if you're on your doom scrolling and YouTube or whatever, if you Google and look up Chuck Ramsey, he has some incredible TED Talks that are pretty motivational. Some of the things that he's been through in his career are pretty uplifting. But which kind of leads me into why this section and why it's so important. If you do look at our website under the women's leadership section, we have essentially 5 goals that we've outlined that we really want to hone in on and why this is important. One being professional development. The membership portion of this was a very big topic of discussion this entire year. It initially went from, us talking about how we want women in leadership roles to become part of this, but the reality is that women still only account for 3% of leadership in leadership roles across the nation when it comes to law enforcement. So if we're talking, percentages, listen, full disclosure, I'm not a math person. I don't do math at all, but when there's 41 people on this meeting, that means there's just a smattering of us that are actually in those leadership positions. Now, again, rank doesn't matter. We want to make sure that we're offering, professional development opportunities for all women, because I do think that it does help shape you as a person, as an officer, as professional support staff, to be the best version of yourself that you can be while you're employed. The other goal number 2 is mentorship and peer support. We've talked a lot about that here, and we've seen a lot of feedback in the mentee comments about how mentorship is kind of absent depending on, the makeup of your own agency. If you're the only female or one of only a couple females, it does become difficult to have the, person that you can lean on. So this is the goal, is to build a network here where it really is a truly phone a friend type of environment where you can reach out at any point in time and say, hey, I'm kind of walking through this. Do you have any experience, or can you help me? And that is where the power of networking and experience really comes through. We definitely want to encourage women, who maybe are feeling stuck in a rut or feel like their careers are not advancing for whatever reason, to be able to offer them that support and encouragement to maybe think about things differently. The networking and collaboration is another portion of this. We've talked extensively about opportunities that we would like to see in the future. Illinois is a big state. There's a lot of variety in agencies, and it is as important for us to have a network in the northern part of the state as it is the central and southern part of the state. And we recognize that it is a big stretch of area. So we're going to try to do, some events where we're going to maybe be in the north part of the state one time, central and southern someplace else. We really want to make sure that we're physically connecting with people, because virtual is great, but let's be honest, it's just a placeholder. It does not replace the real in-person experience that you get. And then advocacy and representation. I know that some agencies have gotten on board with the 30 by 30 initiative, which is great. I will tell you that even from a large agency such as Illinois, I'm in Elgin. We're all in Illinois. Let me start there. As the Elgin Police Department, we have, about 200 officers. So we're a large agency, but you would be surprised that even within a large agency, there is some pushback on being a part of a 30 by 30 initiative. So getting that to become more normalized and, not have to be an initiative at some point in time is really what we're going after. And then the final goal that we have, is to inspire and recruit other women into this. Listen, 23 years into this, I still feel like this is the best job in the world. I have had so many privileges and experiences that I don't think a lot of people are privy to. And it is very difficult and stressful in the day-to-day operations of your agency. It's easy for you to get lost in some of the things that happen. Maybe you feel a little slighted, or you didn't get that promotion, or you were overlooked. And it can be very challenging for you to stay motivated and positive. And I know that, my agency 23 years ago looked very different. And I am walking through that loneliness and that lack of motivation almost made me go a different way. And I'm glad I stuck with it. And if we can, as a group, can be of support to other women to encourage and make sure that you stay on track, here we are. We're going to do it for you. So this is why this section is very, very important to us, why we believe in it strongly. Tara mentioned the membership exception that has been made, that it was a huge barrier, I think, for a lot of people. So please consider that. After this meeting, we're gonna, Tara, do you have the form that you're gonna send out? Is it the Google document?
Yeah, I have a Microsoft Forms page. It's really a working group interest form. So we'll send that out to the group in the link, and then we'll also post it on the Women's Leadership page, whether it's in a forum or on the actual page. But that will provide an opportunity we're not necessarily going to have all of those working groups up and running at this moment, but it's so we can plan for this year. Some of those groups are certainly going to be used now, especially for training for our in-person events. We have a number of conferences coming up. But we will have that available. I'll have AJ send that out after the meeting, probably with the Menti results and any links to the questions that people have brought up in the chat. Sound good?
Yes, thank you for that. Yeah, because we are just a group of, the committee is only 5 people right now. We're all pulled in a million different directions on a daily basis. And it does no good for us to keep all the work to ourselves. We want people to be interested and motivated and fully recognize that people have different strengths and weaknesses. And if we were going to make this section flourish and thrive, then we do need everybody's input. So if you are interested and you can devote that time, to becoming a member of one of these work groups, we would certainly appreciate, some feedback from you. And any feedback actually at all in general would be very much appreciated. Before we wrap up this meeting today, all of the chair members here, we're going to put our contact information in the chat so that you guys have it moving forward. And as Tara mentioned, there's going to be a couple conferences that are up, and the usual ones that everybody pretty much knows about. The one that's coming up, I think, immediately is the Women in Criminal Justice Conference in East Peoria. I can tell you that after a couple of years of this in the making, last year we were surprised in that it sold out within 3 days. So I know it just recently opened. If you haven't registered already, please do. The women's leadership section is going to have a table there at the conference. So come meet us in person. We're gonna wrangle you in to join the section, but it'll be a great opportunity for us all to meet face to face. And like I said, tell your friends, tell your sisters, tell your aunties, and let's make sure that we connect in person and face to face. Anything else, Karen, Christy, Kim, Tara?
I would just say if you are on the fence about joining the section or not, please know that some of our in-person meetings will be at the Illinois Chiefs Conference, as well as at the Midwest Leadership Expo in August. So the conference is in April, the Leadership Expo, the Traffic Safety Leadership Expo is in August. And they're kind of trying to turn that into like a mini conference as well, beyond just like your traffic awards and your, the expo piece. So we're going to really build on it, but those are going to be 2 in-person events. So I would definitely recommend doing like a full membership. And please know that if you're not the first member of your agency joining the section, it is a reduced rate. And if you have questions about that, just get in touch with ILACP. AJ Bailey is super responsive, as well as the other people in the office. So if you have any questions, they'll certainly answer any that you have about it.
Kim, Karen, Christy, final thoughts?
I think today was a great turnout. I'm really impressed with all the faces that we saw here today, and I'm really looking forward to us connecting. So I think nobody's giving lip service when we all say, reach out if you have any questions. We fully understand that the mentorship is somewhat lacking in most agencies, so we're all here for you.
I just want to tag on and say, you know what, Christy's right. Again, as a officer, I really would have appreciated having the opportunity to just be in the presence of some of the talent and some of the people that are here today on this Zoom meeting. This is really great that we're starting to collaborate and to communicate with each other. I think somebody put in the comments that we need to stop the cattiness amongst females, and that's definitely not our intent. Again, the 5 of us, we all sat down and we thought of all the things that we went through when when we were younger officers and how we can change and make things better. And that's our goal. So I appreciate all of you and the time that you spent being here with us today.
Yeah, and I would just say what everyone said, I agree with. I would just say I've been very fortunate to really get to know these lovely ladies for the past year, and they're pretty amazing. And just by reading the comments and reading the responses to the mentee questions, I can tell that we have an amazing larger group of women here. So I'm excited to meet everyone else in person too.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate to everybody so that everybody's clear on this. And I think there are some professional support staff on here, but this is also part of the reason she doesn't have a camera in her office. So this is my girl Lacey.
I was stealth today, but here we are.
So she is our financial analyst here at the police department. She's been one of my soul sisters forever, and it is as important for us to lift up our professional support staff, because I've seen it where there's been some straight out slights that come from both men and women towards our professional support staff. And if what we're really trying to do here is create an environment of support and advocacy and leadership, then we have to make sure that we're lifting everybody up. So I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Man, I have no time management like this in my personal life. This is fantastic. I'm going to hit it 1 hour on the dot, be respectful of everybody's time. Our contact information is in the chat. Thank you everybody for taking your time this morning. This is the start to what is going to be a very fantastic section of the ILACP. So please feel free to reach out. Terry's going to make sure that that information goes out to you to solicit your interest in any of the future work groups. And again, if you ever need anything at all, please do not hesitate to reach out. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Stay safe, stay warm, and we'll see you on the next one.